Hi, my name is Neil Sami, and today we'll be going over the program I've made using Python, SQLite, tkinter, and datatime modules. And in this presentation, I'll be going over the code I've created, and I'll giving a step-by-step process on how it works. So let's get into it. So as you can see, we will be starting up all the way here at SQLite. So here we're just simply importing our SQLite, tkinter, datetime modules, and the random module, which we'll be using later on the function, or later on the code. So at the beginning, we'll be creating a database. So at the beginning, we'll be making a connection to the SQLite database using the SQLite 3 module. This creates a database file in our current directory called database.db. Next, we'll define a function called clear events table. This basically deletes all the data in our events table and resets with the primary key counter. So every time we refresh, we don't still have the old data in. After defining our function, we'll be going on and creating the events part of the program. So here we will simply be making a data table in case that we don't have it, because you can actually import your own data table if you have it already. And if the data table does not already have the certain columns that aren't there, it'll simply add it in. Now, this is a very rough version of my data, and this includes a home sport game. You can have, so in this data, you can just define the name, for example, football game, homecoming, the time, for example, the March 18, 2022 at 2 p.m. Whether or not it's a sporting event, whether or not it's a home or away game, and this, of course, if it's not a sporting event, you can have, if it's not, the column does not apply, the input will be n/a for not applicable, because you cannot have a null value. And then we'll be going on to whether or not it's a special, major, or minor sporting event. And then the points value, which we think, but we will also be going over and rechecking and making before we add in the actual points into our data set for the students. And then here we'll have regular or special game, whether or not it's a regular or special event. And we'll be going on. So just so we can take a look at the data, we have this part of the program, which just prints the data we have. Then moving on, we have pretty much we're creating control types and for the GUI and creating a GUI to display information about the events. And then here we're creating a button so you can submit the event. And then here is the part where we'll be going over the points. So based on what I believe, a home game should be worth 6 points because it's already at the school. An away game, since you have to travel, will be worth 8 points. And they both happen very frequently because they're typical sporting games. And a special game such as a homecoming game or a rivals game will be worth 10 points because it doesn't happen very frequently, but it's a very, very strong thing to boost school morale. And of course, if it's neither, for example, if it's a school event, that'll be just unknown. And the same thing goes for the next part. So here it'll be major event, or if it's a minor event, it'll be worth the related points. I believe major events are worth 12 points because they're very, very key parts of a school year. For example, a homecoming dance, and a minor event such as a class fundraiser. We worth 8 points because they still don't happen as much, but they're not nearly as valuable. And finally, we have a function to calculate the points. And this is where we were basically double checking the points before we add it to the student data, which we have right here, or right here. And then this part will be actually just putting that into our SQL database, SQLite actually. And let's move on. So here we'll be creating a function to select winners from each grade level. So the way I believe it should work is, since there are a large population of students, I believe that we should first randomly draw the students from the whole collection. And then if that student has points greater than 150, they should get a school spirit item, for example, a school hoodie. Greater than 100, they'll get a food reward, for example, a cupcake. And if it's greater than 50, they'll get a school reward. For example, free lunch. Or if that already exists, you can have a lunch pass or front of the line pass for lunch. And then this is just displaying for just display who won. And yeah, and this keeps going until we have all three selected. And then we'll generate a report at the end of each quarter for the winners. And then we'll create a function to validate the user input here. And then we created a button, validate user input, and an error label, create a connection to the database. And yeah, this is just for hopefully in the future, we'll be also having a way so the students can view the school events that are currently occurring. So that was my program. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.